FDA is a wide topic that covers many categories, and for each category, there will be a parts and sections which contain document or guideline for it. For this webinar, the category that I'll be talking about will be towards medical device manufacturers. And for the parts covering these categories would be Part 11 and Part 820. Let's go through some introduction before I talk more about Part 11 and Part 820. What is FDA? FDA is short for Food and Drug Administration. And what does it do? FDA helps to regulate a product's risk towards the public and to protect public's health. Other than that, it also provides the public with accurate science-based information and not just verbal confirmation. What field does it cover? FDA covers a wide range of fields globally. Here I have a list of fields that FDA covers. As you can see, a few of the fields here would be directly impacting us as consumers. One of the fields that we are familiar with would be the medical manufacturing field. We provide solutions that aid medical manufacturers in conforming with the requirement listed in Title 21 Code of Federation Regulation, Part 11 and Part 820. By following what is stated on Part 11 and Part 820, how does this help manufacturers? Here are some examples that would benefit manufacturers and even consumers. By looking at these examples, it will be beneficial to manufacturers as it enhances consumer confidence and there will be a proper design of products. Companies will be able to provide adequate monitoring and control of manufacturing processes and facilities. Next, I will be sharing about some guidance documents relating to FDA Title 21. These documents would serve as a guideline towards medical manufacturers. The first document would be called Part 11, and the second document would be called Part 820. On the next few slides, allow me to share a little bit more information on Part 11. There will be a total of 3 subparts, A, B, and C, under Part 11, and each subpart contains sections explaining the details or requirements needed. Subpart A is called General Provision. It states where Part 11 will be applicable to and provides terms and conditions of it. This sets the ground rules for technology system or computer system used by the company. Subpart B is called Electronic Records. It talks about electronic record generated or distributed by the computer system used in the manufacturing process. Subpart C is called Electronic Signature. It talks about the electronic signature generated by the system used. Documents will require approval and it will not be able to edit. The subpart that interests us the most here would be subpart B and subpart C. Before I share more about subpart B and subpart C, allow me to better portray what Part 11 does. The general idea is that Part 11 provides companies with guidelines adhering to the standards set by FDA. And by following the guidelines, we as manufacturers would have a standard operating procedure for data backup and security. We will also be able to validate that electronic records generated or distributed by the metrology system are trustworthy and reliable. FDA will also help to ensure that your computer is secure and integrity of data is real, accurate, and safeguarded from unauthorized user modification. It also helps to check system does what is intended to do originally and check that it is working as per design. Under subpart B, electronic records, here are some guidelines stated by the documents. It states that only authorized personnel will be able to access the system. The guideline would aid in assuring that integrity of measurement data will not be compromised. Altered records would be identified because it will be recorded by the system. Recorded events such as login or out and other information such as date and time would also be recorded. Reporting template will be standardized and records of data will be stored away in a database. Inspection result will require an approval to approve it. I believe a video would better show the requirement stated here. In this video, such requirements will be demonstrated using software called Smart SCS. Please sit back and keep your eyes peeled. I hope the video is able to show that to clear some doubts if there is any. Under subpart C, electronic signature, it would mean transparency. What is required here is that each individual must have his or her unique electronic signature in the document. Here are some examples that is listed out in subpart C. User signature will be required at any document. Login ID and password must be unique and distinctive. When creating a password, it must have special characters or symbols. And password is not recyclable, meaning that users cannot always use the same password when its validity ends. Similarly, I will be demonstrating how can all these examples be achieved using a software called Smart SCS. I hope the video helps you to understand better. Next, I will be talking about Part 820. There will be a total of 15 subparts under Part 820. However, we will not be looking at all of them, but rather only subpart A, B, and G, which applies to medical manufacturers. Subpart A is called General Provision. It shares where Part 820 would be applicable to and states the terms and conditions of it. The next would be Subpart B, called Quality System Requirement. It talks about responsibility of management in establishing policies, auditing, and personnel operating it. Lastly, Subpart G is called Production and Process Control. It touches about production, inspection, equipment, and validation. We will be mainly looking at Subpart B and Subpart G as it contains certain critical information. Before I share more about Subpart B and Subpart G, allow me to summarize the general idea of Part 820. Part 820 is a part of the FDA Quality System Regulation. What it does is to establish and follow quality system to help ensure manufactured products constantly meet required specifications. By following the requirement of Part 820, medical devices would be assured safe and effective for use. It will also focus on validation towards metrology equipment installation and manufacturing process used to perform inspection. Lastly, Part 820 will document the requirement for GMP, which stands for Good Manufacturing Practice, for the use of medical manufacturers. More information about GMP will be shared later. Under Subpart B of Part 820, manufacturers are required to establish procedures for identifying training needs and ensure that personnel are well trained to perform their assigned tasks. Personnel should be also familiar with any device defect or error encountered during usage of device or verification and validation. Under Subpart G of Part 820, this part focuses on production and process controls. Manufacturers should ensure that equipment used meets specified requirements and it follows maintenance schedule. Date and individuals conducting inspection should be documented. Any inspection or measurement must be ensured that it can provide valid results and is suitable for intended use. Calibration standards should be traceable to national or international standards, whereas the calibration records shall have documented equipment identification, calibration dates, and the individual performing it. There are many terms and conditions that is listed under FDA requirement. One of the requirement is called GMP. But before that, let's have a look at the bigger picture of GMP called GXP. GXP are the quality standards and regulations for a specific field or activity. G stands for good, P stands for practice. X changes depending upon the field type. I will be talking more about this X in a later slide. GXP ensures that regulated company or organization complies with standards and procedures. The guideline focuses on three topics: traceability, accountability, and data integrity. Minimum requirements stated by the guideline here is to ensure that product quality is consistent. Traceability refers to ability to reconstruct a product's history. Accountability refers to ability to provide to prove that individual in charge have contributed to the product or project and when is it done. Lastly, data integrity refers to the reliability of a system. GXP guideline covers a wide variety of industry. X here would change depending on the industry sector. Here I'm listing out a few industries. What we are focusing on here would be on GMP. GMP is a system for ensuring that products are consistently produced and controlled according to quality standards. Here are some examples related to GMP. Product quality must be the same throughout the manufacturing process. Manufacturing must be done in a controlled environment. Manufacturing area must be maintained clean and hygienic. Manufactured products must not cause harm to the public. And lastly, manufacturing process must conform to guideline and it must be validated and evaluated. In conclusion, summarizing what I have talked about for the past couple of minutes, here are some key takeaways for this session of webinar. First would be secure user access management. Second would be electronic signature. Third would be audit trail. All these three regulatory would aid in conforming with Part 11 and Part 820. Putting in examples from previous slide, I believe this would give a better picture of what is shown here. User access management would mean authorized personnel login. Electronic signature would mean distinctive password and username for each user. And audit trail would mean recorded events. To further emphasize on what is shown, here are some screenshots relating to mentioned terms. Thank you for taking part in today's session of webinar. I hope that you are able to gain some knowledge through this session. For those who wish to learn more about how our software could help you, kindly feel free to contact us using the information listed on this slide. Once again, thank you and have a nice day.